honor of getting a chance to speak with the homie Ice Cube. Ice Cube has come through to hang out with us and all the other intelligent Black people in the room. Just to remind everybody that on this platform, we are Black first. And that means that you put your community first. That means that you know that in order for Black people to succeed, we must come together. We must be the smartest people in the room. We must stand up for ourselves and put our people ahead of anything else. Before we solve the world's problems, we must solve our own. So if you agree with this philosophy, put a hashtag B1 in the chat. Hashtag B1, that's the calling card. And let's do that. Let's get this started. All right. So first of all, man, how you doing?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. I like the Star Wars shirt.
Yeah, what's cool is my son just got the movie. He just got a part in the new Star Wars, so it's kind of cool because we've been watching that movie. I've been watching that movie since I was 8 years old. So it's cool to have one of my sons, get a chance to play in the movie. So it's kind of cool.
That's great. That's great. So what character is he gonna play?
I have no idea, dude. You know what I mean? I just found out, and I was happy for him. He's been a big fan of the movie. He got Godzilla, as a kid, I remember taking him to see Jurassic Park. And he was little. It's a trip because we had one of those Eddie Bowers, that they got in the movie. I think it's Escalade or one of them damn kind of cars. But anyway, we had the same car, the same color that they had in the movie. We took him to the drive-in to check it out. And at night, the big T-Rex come out at night. And he start to try to eat the people in the car, and it's raining and it's crazy. And so, I guess he was a little too little to see this movie. Because when he saw that monster come out, T-Rex, and we in a car at the drive-in, he was like, I'm ready to go. Let's go. Let's go home. Let's go home. So we had to bone up out of there and drive up out in the middle of the movie. So it's kind of cool. But anyway, he's been a big fan of these movies and stuff since he was young, and it's cool to see him get it.
That's nice, man. Congratulations. That's cool. So let me ask you this, and everybody who's watching, hit the thumbs up button, hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button. If you haven't done it yet, please do that. Okay, so let's talk. We haven't talked since before the election. I personally think you made Black history. You helped Black people win that election. It didn't matter if the Democrat or Republican won. Black people won because you came in and basically created, in my view, you created a game of good cop, bad cop. Look, you better take care of the Negroes on the inside, or you're going to deal with some Black people on the outside, right? And so even though the impression was that you were on the outside, you put that pressure on the situation that led them to reconsider how they deal with Black people from this election going forward. So I consider that to be a win. And I think people who think long term understand that you don't get it all at once. Sometimes you make progress step by step and set the stage for something bigger. What is your take in terms of how things turned out and how things have evolved since then?
Well, just looking at the situation, it turned out pretty much how I thought it would. I thought Biden would win the election, at the end of the day. And so, I was in there, doing what I needed to do to try to make sure that Black people stayed on their minds. If you remember going into that, they were starting to really push for the suburban white lady vote. That's what they was going after. Matter of fact, some of their people actually told us. And, we talked to a lot of Democrats along the way. We talked to a lot of Elizabeth Warren people. We talked to a few of what's old boy name? Bernie Sanders. We talked to his people, trying to figure out the best way to talk to the campaign, the people who was running Biden's campaign. So we knew a lot of information about, where their head was, and it was everybody was about to shift gears, and we had to make sure things were still focus on uh, the black community, the problems that's going on that need to be fixed. So we wanted to make sure that the focus was still on us. So we went at both campaigns, like I said I would. We ended up talking to Trump's campaign, which it caused a lot of controversy, which I understood it would. Um, but at the end of the day, I think it's a bipartisan issue, and that's what I want people to understand. It's up to both parties to fix the problem that both parties created, or both parties were complacent in our continued demise. So we need both parties to feel like they're obligated to fix it. And so, to me, the win out of this election was we're thinking. We're not blindly going to the polls without thinking about, how do we benefit as a community. Um, we've been great for one party for so long. So my dream is for Black people to become independent people. And stand on the sideline until one of the parties do what they supposed to do for us, and then you step in and make the vote.
Mm.
Um, and I think if more of us do that, we'll see that our problems will start to be dealt with before the election, and not us chasing after the election. So a lot of people don't agree with my way of doing things. That's okay. I don't expect everybody to agree with me. I don't agree with everybody. So it's cool. The thing is I'm gonna be a man, and I'm gonna do what I think is right. And I didn't go in for no selfish reasons. That's why, I felt like I can go full speed. I was going in trying to, get some tangibles for Black people in America. And to me, what people should have did was say, "Damn, Trump is going to do 500 billion. Biden, y'all should be doing 700 billion. Damn, why y'all not
Mhm.
doing a trillion?" That was the play. Is for people to pivot and then push the Democrats to do more. But instead, a lot of they watchdogs came after me. But I'm from the
Mm.
hood. I done dealt with pit bulls. You know what I'm saying, my whole life. So I could deal with a few little surrogates.
Well, man, I'll tell you what really got my attention was, I don't know, I was a little surprised by how deep they went with the propaganda. Like when they pulled that Saturday Night Live thing. Give me a
Yeah.
second on the chat if y'all saw this. Where on Saturday Night Live they had that whole thing with that skit with I guess the one guy was supposed to be 50 Cent and the other one was you, or maybe it was Lil Wayne and you. But they they did the whole taxes thing. That kind of surprised me because that was just blatantly false. Like that was just
Yeah.
straight up like not true on any level. You got the guy had the MAGA hat on, all that. Did that surprise you? I mean, did it surprise you that they just would just flat out lie on you like that by labeling you a Trump supporter and all that, even though you never said anything like your song? You had the song "Arrest the President" like
Yeah.
2 years ago. Like you've never been a Trump supporter. What was going through your mind when you saw that go down?
Well, it didn't surprise me. You know what I'm saying? You're dealing with um, people that's always showing us in a bad light. Hollywood is the chief architect of some of the way we're being treated in this country. So I wasn't surprised that they would stoop that low. Um, but at the end of the day, I think intelligent people, was able to see the nuances in what I was trying to do. People who had who was on the team, who had, their agenda set, who want people to vote with them. They found a reason to to try to paint me as this Trump supporter. At the end of the day, everybody know that I was speaking up for the Black community. I had wrote the contract with Black America. I've been getting hate ever since I wrote it. I've been getting a lot of love from the B1 family, but for the most part, I've been getting a lot of hate, ever since that from Hollywood, from the powers that be. I've been banned from a few shows that I was supposed to appear on, and after doing the pre-interview, they wouldn't let me on the show. So I don't want to put them on blast right now because I don't need them. I was doing my thing before them, and I'll be here after them. So it don't make none. It was pretty small to a giant. So at the end of the day, I just wanted to keep pushing the program, and I am pushing the program. We talking to other companies, not just the government. We talking to companies like Nike. We talking to companies like Taco Bell. To see if they want to do things that kind of go in line with the contract with Black America. So I made the promise that I speak to the public sector and the private sector. So the public sector, we saw what that was, and I'm gonna continue to go at them. We're still trying to get a meeting with Biden, but I'm going after the private sector too. Not just me, but we got a team of people who uh who help us, try to navigate this thing and try to get tangibles. That's what we're trying to get. We're trying to get hands in Black families. We're trying to get dollars in Black families' hands, and that's the end at the end of the day. And sometimes we need to make sure we recycling those dollars, these Black dollars. If you ain't got business, just recycle it. Make sure another Black family, touch the dollar before the dollar leave the neighborhood. So them kind of things we can do to help each other. Just make sure and when you spend, Black families touching them dollars.
All right. Everybody who's watching, speaking with Ice Cube, and we are talking about politics, blackness, and a lot of other things. In case you just came in, please hit the thumbs up button. We are building independent Black media. We need independent Black media because you all saw during Ice Cube's campaign how propaganda is used to undermine progress in the Black community. So if you want to, if you believe in that, if you want to support us, please hit the thumbs up button. Make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and all that good stuff. Also, subscribe to the blackbosschannel.com because that's where Black men do all the talking. That's where a space where Black men are listened to, Black men are heard. And one of the reasons I'll turn this back to you, Ice Cube. One of the things that I loved about what you were doing, I mean, we support the sisters. We love Black women. I work with Fly Nubian Queen and everything else, and we know Black women are doing their thing. But I feel like since Biden's crime bill in the 1990s and Clinton and all the other people that pushed this thing through, the Black man kind of was missing from the conversation, that they felt like they were going to a fatherless community and they could get, just do anything they wanted. And when you stepped in, I felt that part of their animosity came from the fact that people are not used to Black men stepping up and speaking up and then not ever having to fold. You from what I understand, I don't know your whole economic situation. I don't count your money or anything like that. But I would imagine the fact that you're a guy who has made his own movies, you've made your own moves, you own the sports league, you're not a player on the team, you started the Big Three with your partners, things like that, that independence gave you a freedom of voice and expression that a lot of brothers don't have. And people were just not used to that. Like it's just almost like that person that you don't expect to talk. You're like, why are you talking? And I was, cheering you on, but I think a lot of people were kind of taken back by that. How much do you feel some of the backlash was driven by the fact that you are a Black male, in particular, a straight Black African-American male who's really truly fighting for the Black community? It wasn't no cross-sectional stuff. It wasn't watered down. It was like a powernomics oriented kind of message you had, very, straight, no chaser. How do you think that played out in terms of the strength of the backlash that you saw, at least from mainstream elite media?
Well, I expected it. They don't like to see not only Black men but Black boys standing up and being strong. You don't have to wait till you're a man to be strong, and you don't have to wait till you have money. At 15, 16 years old, we was telling them what it was, and we was telling them that you're not going to tell us how our life was and how our life is. So, I just think it's really all about, having principle, being a man. Um, you know, some of my buddies, we've had the philosophy growing up. I was looking for a job when I found this one. So, it don't matter, about that. You got to leave with yourself intact, if you know what I mean. You can't let people uh rule you and run over you just because they believe they got power. It's really all in what you feel in your heart. At the end of the day, you always feel better when you say what need to be said than wait until you get to a place where you feel safe. Sometimes you just got to step out there and do what need to be done. And I just noticed, when you take one step towards the right thing, sometimes that thing will take two steps towards you. And it's saying you take one step towards God, he'll take two steps towards you. So you just gotta always just have the right intentions. Don't be selfish, be a man, and speak up and stand up for what's right. I think more of us got to do that. Yeah, they are. That's foreign to them nowadays, um, because a lot of our men, we into hip hop, we into our music. You know what I'm saying? A lot of dudes is grown ass teenagers. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, they gotta step out of that and do what a man need to do at the time when a man need to do it, and it's fine. And we support our women, um, and that's fine too. But they gotta, everybody gotta respect us. Or if you don't hear us, you're gonna feel us. So I think you should hear us because everybody know they don't want to feel us.
Well, I like them. I mean, it was when I kind of saw the response that you were getting from people and what was going on, it made me think about the difference between masculine leadership and other types of leadership. That masculine leadership, in my interpretation, it's a couple things. One is the power of God in the sense that you have the ability to manifest, the ability to create something that wasn't there. Start something new, start an initiative, push things forward, etc. The second part about masculine leadership links to powernomics. I know you're a student of powernomics also, and I'd love to ask you about that in terms of how that influences your thinking on this. But Dr. Claude Anderson in Powernomics, which is a book, actually, I keep that right next to me like a Bible. I keep it like right on my desk. First thing he does is he describes what power is, and everybody talks about Black power and what it means to have power. And he says that power is the ability to pursue your agenda despite the opposition of others. Right? That means that you're going to get pushback. I remember one time I talked to this guy. He was a white guy, but he was a billionaire, like a libertarian. He wasn't into racial stuff and Democrat, Republican. He was just into making his money and being powerful. And he said, I see what you're doing in the Black community. I really like it. And I said, okay, well, thank you, Mr. White Man. I appreciate whatever, right? And he says, but one thing you got to understand is that when you get real power, you're going to get a reaction. When the minute you know that they're taking you seriously is when they really start attacking you. So if you run up the hill with your gun out, they're going to shoot back, right? And I thought that was a really poignant kind of message, because I think that some of our people, we don't understand what power really looks like. We don't understand that when you get real power, they're going to shoot back. They're not going to cheer for you. They're not going to sit back and say, oh, we want Black people to have wealth. We want Black people to have power. No, power is something that people protect, right? It's like when the Lakers played who they played with, the Heat in the championship. The Lakers might have been the better team, but they had to take that championship out of their hands.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they could go ask them for it and have it handed to them. And I think that simple idea is something a lot of our people don't actually get. And so what is your interpretation on this? I know you're a sports fan and stuff like that. Do you think that sometimes that maybe we have to really remind ourselves that we are in a competitive process? When people may stop us, but it's not necessarily just because they hate us. It's because they're protecting what they got, and you got to go in there and really fight for it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think people forget that we're in a capitalist society. Capitalize off the next man. You know, so you know, and I mean, people do it in different ways. You know, people do it in bad ways and good ways, but that's the object is, you know, to make sure that you are doing what it takes. Um, you know, a lot of people let the word hard stop them from trying, or stop them from doing. But nothing worthwhile is easy, and you have to. You know, the thing is you got to take a loss to be a boss. You know, that's just it. You got to learn. You know what it takes to succeed and to get better each year and to figure out what you did wrong and to make the adjustments, to plan. And I went to before I started doing music, when I got out of high school, I didn't know we was West Coast rappers, so we didn't know we was gonna even be, you know, make a quarter, you know, in hip hop. We, you know, it was just fun. You know, the professional rappers was on the East Coast. So we didn't know. And so I was like, I need something to fall back on. So I went to this trade school, you know, and learned architectural drafting. And what it taught me was you gotta have a plan. You can't you can't just start. Don't just start. Because if you just start building a house without a plan, it's not gonna hold up. You know, it's gonna fall. So, you know, those are the things, you know, write it down. It's easier to write it down and figure it out and take your time thinking it out. But then once you thought it out and you thought all the angles, you know, sometimes I like to write pros and cons. You know, I'll write a line down the middle of a paper and be like, this is a good reason to do this, and this is a bad reason, you know, I shouldn't do it. And if there's more cons than pros, then that might be your decision, you know. But if there's more pros than cons, that might be your decision. And so at some point, you got to pull the trigger. You got to trust yourself. You got to trust your instincts. Trust what God gave you inside, and trust your talent.
Mm.
You know, and so we do a lot of waiting, and you know, a lot of people owe us a lot, and so you tend to wait when somebody owe you, as far
Mm.
as you feel like, you know, we've been robbed and cheated and abused in this country. We feel like, you know, somebody owe us, but they're not coming. They're not gonna give us nothing.
Mm.
And most of the time, you know, you need to really start and get something going, and then you'll be surprised how many people help you get over the hump. But if you're
Mm.
just waiting, you know, Robin Harris said it was a joke, you know, Robin Harris used to do. He'd be like, you know, dudes just at home waiting for a job to come knock on the door. You know what I'm saying? And that just don't happen. Jobs just don't come knock on the door. Sometimes you got to create a job. Sometimes you got to use your talent. Sometimes your job is right there between your ears.
Mm.
And, you know, so sometimes put down the bullshit and take some time to think about what you got to do for yourself. And
Mm.
you know, to me, those are the keys to start. And if you fail, it's cool. You got to just, you know what I mean, regroup and try something new and try it again, try it a different way. Find people that's experts at it. Hopefully, they'll help you. But
Mm.
you got to be proactive.
Mm. Well,
The
I like
world is
that.
about action.
Well, you know, and I like that. I mean, because you know, like I like what you said. You got to take a loss to be the boss. You know, and I don't think a lot of people understand how much so-called losing you got to go through really to win at anything. And I think that one of the things that I always related to, as far as what you've done in your career, is, you know, I know that shit. The job I have now, whatever this is that I do, this didn't exist. Like I had to make it exist. You know, and I imagine, you know, in the 1980s there was not any room on the radio for NWA. You know,
No,
yeah, I mean, literally, y'all had to break your way through that. And I got the impression. I'd be curious to get your thoughts on this, but I got the impression that you were a huge catalyst in a lot of that. You know, like Ice Cube writes some rhymes that I say, you know, stuff like that, and the Thinker, you know, in the group. And the same way Willie D kind of did that for the Ghetto Boys. You know, like just like, okay, here's how we're gonna package this and make this work, and we're going to teach people what they want. Like people didn't know that they wanted that until you presented it, and then we're like, oh, we love that. Can you kind of talk about that process, creating opportunity where there is none? It seems like that's a common factor amongst people that achieve a high level of greatness, especially Black men. What are your thoughts?
Well, you know, first of all, I want to give credit where credit is due. I'm sharp as a tack, but so is Easy E. Easy E was the one who said, "Stop trying to make records like New York rappers, man. Won't y'all make records like y'all are?" You know what I mean? Make records like y'all. Y'all do mixtapes talking about the hood. Won't y'all make records like that? So he had the vision. He put the money behind it. He was the one going from swap meet to swap meet, selling the records out of his trunk. Wow. Trying to connect us to a major. So, he was brilliant in his own right. Then you got Dr. Dre, who was a master at sound and what would work on a record, and how to arrange it. You had DJ Yella. He was brilliant with the equipment. I mean, he knew, how to work everything, and he'd be the only one that wanted to read the whole damn instruction book from start to finish. And everybody else want to take it out the box and start hitting on it. So, everybody was brilliant, in their own way. Arabian Prince, who doesn't get talked about, but now he got into video games after NWA, and he was on the internet before we knew what the hell the internet was. So this dude was always technology and not whatever the hell that word is. And he was just I went to the LA Unified School District, so excuse me if my tongue getting in the way of this dumbass English. But it was he was just more advanced than everybody when it comes to technology. So everybody, like I said, had their brilliant angles to the group that made it work and made it, blow up. I was a big fan of records that, made you think, records that went, straight to the brain. I wasn't, the king of party records. I was a fan of Melly Mel and Ice-T, Public Enemy, KRS-One, Rakim, just the ones who was spitting the game. That's who I would levitate and move to. So when I started to really hone in my style, I wanted to do what was called street knowledge, which was, street records, but with, infused with so much knowledge that people could learn from it. And that's what I've been doing my whole career.
Wow. Well, everybody who's watching, I'm speaking with Ice Cube. He's a guest that doesn't need any introduction, but and you all know him and you all saw the great work that he did as an activist. And do me a favor, everybody. I want to ask you all a yes or no question. And I think it's important to just express this verbally. When Ice Cube was fighting for the Black community during the election, how many of you agree with what Cube was doing? Put a yes or no in the chat. I want to see how many yeses and nos we get. Because I'm really making a point. It's really a rhetorical question because I know the answer is going to be overwhelmingly yes. So I did a survey while you were, doing your thing, and we surveyed a few 100,000 people, and they were just overwhelmingly in support of what you were doing. And I think that what was so shocking to me was how the masses of the people were saying, go Ice Cube, we love this. But there's this elite group of people that were trying to create a counter narrative, which, I mean, that's straight out of the playbook of propaganda. Propaganda literally in the books, they say that that's what you do. You make people think that they're the only one who thinks that way, etc. And so I'd be curious to get your thoughts on We already talked about the propaganda piece, but also when you saw that leaked Zoom meeting from the meeting where Joe Biden had the met with civil rights leaders, and I saw you did a video about that.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts when you saw that conversation, and also what led you to step out at that time to do that latest video you did on Instagram about that and everything else that's going on?
Well, I saw what everybody else saw. At first I heard, little snippets of it, and then I watched the whole thing, and I was just a little surprised that the things that they were demanding or asking for was pretty much the same stuff that they had, just won an election on. And so I was irritated by that. So, to see Joe Biden come at him, I think, it was to be expected, because they kind of called him out during the week and said, hey, we ain't met with you. So to meet and then to ask for the same shit that y'all been campaigning on and won on, it was a little irritating. I wanted somebody to ask about, a bailout for the Black community. A lot of our businesses, they're about to give away more money, and here we go. No ask for that. And look, I'm smart. I know Biden got to get in there. This is a Congress thing, but they still have a lot of influence in Congress, to get this done, or to make sure that these earmarks that they are throwing in there for other countries, they can throw in for Black businesses, Black homeowners, Black venture capitalists, funds for Black entrepreneurs with startup good ideas that need funding. So a lot of people say, well, Cube, that's stop begging a white man for a handout. And it's like, this ain't no goddamn handout. That's our money. I mean, we pay them taxes, man. That's our money that they giving to other people that they should be infusing into the Black community. But as we see, this is just proof in the pudding. This is, right before your eyes, they doing it again. And this is with $4 trillion. They just said, fuck you. You know what I mean? $4 trillion. They just basically gave it to everybody else and said, fend for yourself, make it how you can. And, we voting for this stuff. We, jumping in line and so happy to go vote, with all 32 teeth showing, and and ain't getting shit, but crumbs. And people that's telling us to do it, they getting taken care of. But are you getting taken care of? That's the key. Me, I'm straight. I can actually go sit down and shut the hell up. But at the end of the day, this is what I feel like God put me in a position like this to be able to speak up for people who can't speak up for themselves. So here I am.
All right. Okay, everybody. Well, you guys know who I'm talking to. I'm talking to Ice Cube, and we're talking about politics, economics, and everything else. Do me a favor right now. Hit the thumbs up button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. Also, you guys know we are big believers in do for self. And one of the things we're doing for self is I put up a website, theallblackagenda.com, where there's a lot of resources that you can implement in your own family right now that will help you to pursue your agenda. And one of the links that I have is to Ice Cube's contract with Black America. He didn't just do it himself, but he had a great team behind him. But it's an excellent document. It is literally, I called it the Declaration of Independence for Black people, or that was what we agreed on. I think we had talked about that. And it's really good. In fact, that's how Cube and I got to know each other. Was I read it, and I was my bullshitometer is always on. I'm always like, okay, what is this? What's going on here? And it was very, very, very well done. And in fact, I think that would be a good a good next question to ask you. And I know we got just few more minutes here because I know you got a busy schedule, man. But talk about the contract of Black America and what drove you to do it, because like you mentioned before, you could easily have just sat still and did what all the celebrities do. You could have sat on the sidelines and said nothing. Hollywood wants you to say nothing because Hollywood's in bed with all of this. They're in bed with this Democrat nonsense and Republican stuff too. It's not a Republican Democrat conversation. It's about being Black. But you went out of your way to have a long list of meetings with a lot of very smart people, and really crafted something that I don't think anybody's done. I mean, I really consider that to be a part of Black history. Can you kind of speak to that in terms of what that process was like for you and what drove you to do all of that? Because like I said, you could have sat there and done nothing.
Well, I just figured somebody else was doing this kind of stuff. So, our generation been a little asleep at the wheel in a way. I ain't gonna say everybody, that's a little unfair to everybody that's in my generation. But it's been a thing where, I looked after George Floyd and everybody was, really screaming, yelling, it was protesting. There was a lot of stuff on police brutality. And I felt like, okay, the country is at a moment. What are we asking for? Like the big acts, like what's going to really change our lives, as a community across the board. And when I looked around, I didn't find anything that was like that thing we can all get behind as a community and say, a lot of what we need is in this document right here. Maybe it is around and I just couldn't find it. But, I was always kind of taught when you see something that need to be done, won't you just do it yourself or shut up, So that's what I set out to do. But I wanted to do it right. I knew that there was people that may have dedicated their lives to certain sections that we dealt with, and that I didn't want to offend anybody who had spent, like Dr. Claude Anderson, spent 60 years of his life, pushing economics. So how could I come in and say, what the plan is when I need to, read his books? I need to talk to him. I need to talk to other people who are in these fields and make sure that we was putting a sound document together that can just be a foundation. I'm talking to some athletes tomorrow to do we're going to do a sports section for Black athletes. We still got to fix our reparations section. So I've been talking to, folks about that section. We're thinking about, losing a section. So it's still, to me being, it's a foundation that we can all continue to build on, and better ideas will come along and we'll add them to the contract of Black America. And it's hopefully something that everybody can point to and say, shit, we need this stuff. Forget we need this stuff. It's solid, it's fair, and it's stuff that we need.
Well, I know Dr. Anderson talks about you all the time. We do the Powernomics Masterclass, and he always talks about how much respect he has for you and the way you do things. And I was really excited that you saw the same thing. I mean, I felt like Powernomics was just this kind of thing. I know when I read it for the first time, it blew me away because it filled in so many voids. It helped me understand why America is what it is. Like they want you to think that America's like this because Black people are stupid or we did something wrong. It's like, no, like y'all got a system on, like this is a strategy. This is a game they've been playing. So he breaks down the game unlike anybody else. So last thought I'll ask you about, man, is this. Well, before I go, everybody, shows the roots of modern economics and how it goes back to ancient Africa. There's going to be a screening of Happy by Taki Grant on the 26th. If you want to get a pass, go to blackmovienight.net. The URL's on the screen, so go check it out. So here's the last thing I want to get your thoughts on. One thing that I've observed is that none of our politicians will even say the word reparations. If you go back to that Joe Biden conversation when he's hollering at the civil rights leaders, talking to them like they're some kids, which I thought was great. I love the fact that audio got leaked because it was like right in your face. It's like like you can't deny it now, the disrespect. But I noticed that when they were talking about what they wanted, I didn't hear anybody bring up any serious economic issues. And I've never once heard Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Barack Obama, or anybody in that camp even say the word reparations. But if I ask like the thousands of people that are watching right now, if I say like, is reparations important to you? Is that one of your top 3 issues? Give me a yes or no. 98% of the people will say yes. So the masses of people are talking about reparations, but yet somehow they act tone deaf, like they don't even hear the word. I think that right there is a glaring sign that they don't have the interest of the people at heart. What are your thoughts on that?
Man, bingo, man, jackpot, bullseye. I mean, you hit the nail on the head, man. You know, they have nothing. It's their silence is deafening when it comes to this. And they know what we need. Everybody know what we need. It's not like, the thing is, you got the contract with Black America, but it's not like it's shocking material in there. Nobody is shocked by what's in there. It's like they know this. We're relegated to the bottom of the pyramid. If this is a pyramid system, and a pyramid needs a base. The base is bigger than the top, and we're relegated to the bottom, and they're making sure that we stay there. And it's you can believe it or not, keep your keep your blinders on, but that's the truth. That's what's happening. That's why we're there. The question is like, America, what's your plan for us? You got us at the bottom. Obviously, won't let us go and develop, create a land for our own. And you got us at the bottom of this system. So what's your plan for us? And I hope your plan ain't to try to take niggas to Mars and for us to be at that, because you got another thing coming. You got another thing coming.
All right. Well, you know what? Ice Cube has a lot of stuff going on in his life, and so he let me know we had about 45 minutes to talk, which I thought was great. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you so much, and everybody who's watching, if you could in the chat, just say thank you to the brother. I mean, when you go out there and you're fighting that battle, and there were some people that stood by you during all of this, some big name people. But I feel like there should have been dozens of them, right? If it was some other, global warming type shit or feminism or something, you would have had hundreds of celebrities. But, so I think it's also important that the people really step up. So that means when this brother puts out a movie, we promote that movie like it's our own. When this brother does with the big 3, we put that at the top of our list. You got to support the people that you believe in. And I know a lot of people believe in you, man. So thanks for your great work, brother.
Hey, I appreciate everybody, especially, D1 family, everybody that stayed down. I'm gonna stay down. And we're gonna crack this nut. We're gonna expose the truth. And we're gonna get what we're supposed to get, and we're gonna help each other. You know what I mean? That's what it's all about.
All right, man. Well, was good to see you, brother. And everybody have a good night. And we're gonna take off. So thank you guys for hanging out. Make sure you hit the subscribe button on your way out the door. Thumbs up. Also hit the notification bell. And we will see you guys soon. So have a good day.